Let me first start off by saying welcome to the Tuesday Takeaway session with Brandi. Today is March 5th. This is the first of our Tuesday Takeaway sessions, and this is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the resources that our health professionals have for learning about our products. Now, why did I pick this topic as my first topic? Well, it just so happens that I just got back from the first health professional training of the year that we offer to our nutraMetrix health professionals. It happened to be in New Orleans this past weekend, and it was one of our NEI courses. So the course is not offered by nutraMetrix, but nutraMetrix is the sponsor of a course through the nutraMetrix Educational Institute. And I went as support for the nutraMetrix Institute to be able to answer questions during the business building sessions of the day. So let me first start off by telling you a little bit about that particular course, because it's a great course that we offer to our health professionals, but it's not, let me say it again, it's not offered by nutraMetrix. Why is it not offered by nutraMetrix? Well, the NEI course, or the nutraMetrix Educational Institute course, is actually a course offered by a nonprofit organization that provides continuing medical education and continuing education units for health professionals. Because it offers CMEs and CEUs and is an accredited course, there's no commercial presence allowed during the course, meaning we can't talk about our specific products, we can't talk about nutraMetrix as a company, we can't talk about Market America as a company. What we can talk about is clinical nutritional applications for health professionals. So here's the way the course is set up, and I want to make sure that everybody's aware of this because it's a brand new format that we launched just in 2013 for the NEI. Normally, the CME portion of the course happens in the morning. So in this case, the course started at 9 a.m. and went until 1 o'clock p.m. and it was all about clinical nutrition applications. There was no mention of any products of any brand. It was 100% ingredient focused based on the science and the literature and the research behind nutraceutical interventions in clinical practice. Then the session ended for the day at 1 o'clock, and there was an absolute ending to the course where one of the course moderators would come up and say, the CME activity for the event is over. Then all the participants would leave the room and they would take a break, and then they came back together as a group for a sponsored luncheon, and that's where nutraMetrix came in. nutraMetrix is able to sponsor a luncheon for the health professionals where they can learn about the nutraMetrix products that support the information that was presented by the NEI in the morning. I hope that makes sense. So in this session, the NEI session ended at 1. We took a break till 1:15, and then from 1:15 till 3 o'clock was a Q&A session or panel discussion where the participants could ask their questions about nutraMetrix specific products and nutraMetrix implementation materials. What I found out during that session was that many of the health professionals that were in the room were unaware of the tools that we have available for them to ask their questions about products. Many of them thought that their only source of information about products was their nutraMetrix consultant. And that was a little disheartening to me because we have so many great resources available for the health professionals to be able to learn about products that I wanted to make sure that I took some time with you, the nutraMetrix consultants that are with me today and on the recording, to know what resources are available to you. So again, going back to the NEI, this format that I just reviewed with you, that 9 to 1 being the NEI course where we can't talk about products, and then 1:15 to 3 o'clock where we can talk about products, that happened on Friday and Saturday. Then on Sunday they concluded with just the CME activities, and the feedback was phenomenal. The health professionals were asking questions about, what if my patient, a new patient comes in and they have a symptom or a condition that I've never treated before with nutraceuticals or used nutraceuticals to support their condition? How do I get my questions answered? Do I just go to my NC? And the answer there is no, you really shouldn't just be going to your NC. And I'm going to speak specifically to the NCs on the line for a second. Please know that you should not be the sole channel of information to your health professionals about nutraMetrix implementation. If you are doing that, if you are kind of keeping your health professionals at arm's length so that you can know everything that they're learning, you're really missing out on some great opportunities. I want you to know that we have the opportunity to be able to provide your health professionals with amazing support to get their questions answered. So let's talk about what those resources are. First of all, if you have a health professional that has a question about a specific product usage and they want to hear from another health professional that's experienced the products, you can request a conference call with our clinical faculty. If you go into unfranchise.com in the download section under the nutraMetrix tab, there is a conference call questionnaire form, and I want to make sure everybody knows that this is available to you. It's free of charge to your health professionals, and what it does is it asks you what type of question does your health professional have. Now you can use this conference call questionnaire to answer or ask questions about products, about implementation, about ethics, and all the different types of questions that health professionals ask when they're in the process of opening their account. But it's also available to our existing health professionals that want to get their questions answered about their actual account that they already have. So you can go on there, for example, if you have a health professional that wants to know how to use a specific product with a specific patient type, and you can complete the conference call questionnaire for them and submit it to us. Now sometimes NCs will say, well, can't you just call my doctor? Can't we schedule it so that you call my doctor and be able to answer their questions? And I want you to know that all the people that answer our calls for our health professionals or handle the conference calls are health professionals in clinical practice with their own patient base. So we can't expect them to just pick up the phone and call your health professional, because what ends up happening there is a massive game of phone tag. And we want to be able to eliminate that massive game of phone tag, and we want to be able to make it work in an easy of process as possible. So what we ask you to do on the conference call questionnaire is to submit 3 dates and times where your health professional thinks that they'll be available, and then one of our clinical faculty members will select one of those dates and times, and they'll schedule a conference call. Then we can connect everybody without having to play phone tag, and it works out great. So you can have your health professionals get their questions answered about clinical practice on those conference calls. I want to make sure everybody's promoting those to their health professionals, because I talked to at least 10 health professionals this past weekend who did not know that that service was available to them. In addition to the conference call questionnaire, you have the Facebook groups on Facebook for the health professionals. All your health professionals have to do is search on Facebook for the official nutraMetrix Health Professional Support Group. And what's so powerful about this support group on Facebook is there are several thousand health professionals who are members of the group that are of all different specialties, of all different backgrounds. And your health professionals can pose questions to the group, and either Dr. Mason, who moderates the group as our clinical faculty member, or one of the other health professionals that maybe have had a similar patient show up with the same type of question, can answer them. So there's a very broad background base or resource base available to the health professionals in the support group. So usually people will ask me questions, well, can nutraMetrix consultants be members of the health professional support group? So we know how the health professionals' questions are getting answered. And the answer to that is no, because the purpose of that group is for really there to be a place where health professionals can discuss their patients, health professional to health professional, and talk about the clinical usage of products. If we made that Facebook page or that group available to non-nutraMetrix health professionals, then we wouldn't be able to have those types of discussions, because we might put you, the NC, at risk for practicing medicine without a license, and we don't want to do that. So we keep that conversation clinical, doctor to doctor, health professional to health professional in that group. Another great resource that many of the health professionals were not aware is available is the fact that in addition to the NEI courses that we offer on clinical nutrition with CMEs, we also offer a course specifically for health professionals to learn about nutraMetrix implementation. We have 2 of those courses available this year. The first one is available next month. It's a month from this past weekend in Scottsdale, Arizona at the Talking Stick Resort. It's the first weekend in April. I believe it's the 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, concurrent to the NC training in Arizona, that the course is available for health professionals to get their implementation questions answered. The course is taught by our clinical faculty that are very successful in implementing nutraMetrix into their practice, and they'll talk about clinical usage of products as well as topics like how to incentivize the staff, how to get the staff motivated to be on board, how to follow the process flow of patients through a practice. They'll talk about who is the one who's actually dialoguing with patients about products. What type of checkout procedures are they using? What type of follow-up procedures are they using? And many of the questions that were asked by our health professionals during the implementation session this past weekend in New Orleans were questions that we will spend the whole weekend in Arizona covering. So although we only had 2 hours with the health professionals in New Orleans, because the rest of the time was CME material time, the full weekend in Arizona is dedicated to health professional implementation and clinical usage. So I'm going to strongly encourage that each of you go to nutraMetrix.com, click on the events tab, and look up the information for the HP course in Arizona. It's the HP product and implementation training, and begin promoting that not only to your prospective health professional partners, but to your existing health professional partners. Because if I got one consistent message across the board from health professionals that came up to ask me questions throughout this last weekend, it was they didn't know about the conference call request form. They didn't know that they had the option of getting their questions answered by our clinical faculty for free on an ongoing basis. They didn't know about the Facebook group, and they didn't know about the HP product and implementation training. So this kind of got me scratching my head throughout the weekend saying, why? How can we better promote these materials to the health professionals? And the answer has to be through you, the nutraMetrix consultant. You have to be ready and willing to let them know that these resources are available to them. Now, sometimes I find that NCs don't want to tell their health professionals about these resources because they want to be the one providing all the information to them. If they have to be the one giving them the information, then that gives them a way to get in the door, right? That gives them a way to continue building the relationship with the health professional. But if you're thinking that way, you're kind of thinking small-minded, and you're not taking advantage of the tools. You're not leveraging the tools that we have available to you. My personal recommendation would be that you do not want to promote yourself as the end-all be-all for nutraMetrix. You don't want to promote yourself as a product expert. Let our product expert health professionals be the ones training your health professionals on our products. That allows you to kind of be the business consultant, the marketing consultant, the implementation consultant, but allows them to discuss product to product, health professional to health professional, patient to patient, in a clinical setting with other health professionals. So I hope this gives you a little bit of a better understanding of the resources that are available to you as an NC. Oftentimes in the nutraMetrix Facebook group, we'll get questions about products from especially new NCs, where they'll say, how do I recommend a specific product to my patient, not my patient, but my health professional who's dealing with a patient with this issue? And our response is always, in the nutraMetrix Facebook group, we can't really answer those questions. We're not going to get into clinical usage of products with NCs because we don't want you to have to be the one presenting that information to the health professionals. If you don't have a medical background, if you're not a health professional yourself, if you're not an expert in using the products in clinical practice, then you shouldn't be training the health professionals on how to use them clinically. Let our clinical faculty do that. Let our clinical faculty do what they're supposed to do, and you just connect the dots. Connect your health professional to our clinical faculty so that they can get their questions answered, and that becomes a win-win for everybody. Then you get to be able to take a step back, focus on the implementation, focus on the marketing, help them work through their referral network, and leverage the system so that you don't have to be the one doing all the work, and it allows the health professionals to get their questions answered clinically from someone who has clinical experience with the products. Now I'm going to take a couple seconds. I see we have quite a few people on the line today. If you could answer or write in any questions that you have in the text box. I'm going to open the session up for some Q&A. Does anybody have any questions about either the NEI course, the HP implementation course, the conference call system that we have in place, or just the HP Facebook group, or how to dialogue with your health professionals about those? You can type them right into the text box underneath your chat window there. So I see here somebody says, when will this be available for a potential health professional to view? Great question. All of the Meet On broadcasts that we do here on Meet On are recorded, and then we can submit them for processing. Now I'm going to have to do a little bit of editing just to cut out that section where the video stopped for a second. That might take me till the end of the day to get that done. So I would guess that the video will be available for you to review and share with your health professionals and other NCs by tomorrow. Second question about where is the conference call questionnaire form. If you log into the back office on unfranchised.com and go to the downloads section, there's a drop down that says nutraMetrix. When you click on the drop down for nutraMetrix, the conference call request form, all the forms are listed alphabetically. I believe the conference call request form is item number 6 on that list, so you can go ahead and download that. Try to fill it out as completely as possible. Be sure to make sure that you put in the 3 dates and times that your health professional is available for a conference, and then you send it to the email on the bottom of the form. We have a conference call coordinator, Irina, who will then set up a conference call line between you or your health professional and one of your clinical faculty members, and that's how that form is used. A couple other questions have been popping up here. I know I'm early, but are we thinking mid to late 2014 for the next NEI course. We don't have the actual date for the next the 2014 NEI course. Right now what we're looking to do is have one NEI course per year, and we want to have them in the spring. We found that we get the best attendance for them in the spring. So we're working with the events team right now to get the date and time or the date and venue scheduled for that so that we can get that promoted to you as soon as possible. My goal is to have one every spring for the NEI course, and then we're going to have 2 HP product and implementation trainings every year. And I'll tell you, over a third of the participants in this last weekend's NEI course were not nutraMetrix account holders, meaning they were guest health professionals that were there to learn to see or to evaluate whether nutraMetrix was going to be a good fit for their practice. And I find that using the NEI course as a way to introduce health professionals to nutraMetrix is a great way to approach it, and then once they have an account, try to get them to attend the health professional product and implementation training, because at that point they know what nutraMetrix is, they have a little bit of an understanding of the product line and the system, and then we can take their knowledge even further. There's a question about discussing the wellness coach concept. We'll do that's a great question, Eileen, and that's going to be a whole separate topic where we could spend a whole topic talking about the wellness coach. But for those of you that are new, you can have a wellness coach be somebody in the practice who is the one that sits down with patients and kind of follows the health professional's recommendation. And in every case, it should be the health professional that initiates dialogue with the patient about product usage, but then they can be handed off to a wellness coach, which could be a staff member of the office specifically trained on the products, so that it can be the wellness coach that is answering questions about how to take the products. It could be the wellness coach that does the follow-up to make sure the patient stays on the products and reorders the products. It could be the wellness coach that helps to set up the patient as a preferred customer, maybe get them registered on auto ship. So that's a great part of the implementation plan, is to have somebody in the office that can function as a wellness coach. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, I don't know if the offices I'm working with have a staff member that could be a wellness coach. So there are several practices that have gone outside of the practice and partnered with someone else that functions as the wellness coach or health coach that comes into the practice to do that, at least on a part-time basis. But that will be a separate topic, Eileen, where we do a whole session in an upcoming week about the wellness coach concept. Are there any other questions about the conference call questionnaire, the Facebook group for health professionals, or either the NEI course or the HP product and implementation training course? If so, please type them into the question box. I'll give you about another 10 seconds to get anything typed in there. And if there are no other questions, then I'm going to go ahead and end the session for today. I hope you enjoyed this Tuesday takeaway, all about making sure that your health professionals have access to the resources that are available to them. Cindy wrote in, she wants to thank us for the conference calls. You're welcome. Dr. Mason, Dr. Kritchmar, all of our clinical faculty members that handle those conference calls do a great job with it. We get a lot of great feedback from people who have used the conference calls, that health professionals come off of the calls feeling much more confident in the product line and in the system by getting their questions answered. Linda writes in that she's planning on coming to the training in Arizona with one of the NCs. I don't know. We have 88 seats available. There might not be seats left. Okay, so the course for NCs and in HPs in Arizona both have availability right now. It will tell you how many are available online. I will tell you that the trend, and I'm not sure why this trend has been happening this way, but the trend has been that most people are purchasing their tickets about 3 to 4 weeks out from the event. So we are just about at that point. We're about 3 to 4 weeks out from the event, so we'll probably see a surge in ticket sales this week and next week. So if you can register early, I would recommend that you register early. If you're concerned about losing a seat, you can always purchase a ticket and then sell it to somebody else or transfer it to somebody else if you know that if something comes up and you can't attend it. Now, the tickets are not transferable from event to event, meaning if you do purchase a ticket for Arizona and then you find out that you can't attend in Arizona, they're not refundable and you can't move that unless it's a special circumstance, like somebody's in the hospital or you end up in the hospital. God forbid, we don't want that to happen or anything. But we do make special circumstance exceptions every once in a while. But you can sell your ticket to somebody else or transfer it to somebody else. When is the HP implementation course? We're going to have 2 of them this year. The first one will be a month from now, the first weekend in April, the weekend of April 5th. That is in Scottsdale, Arizona, or Phoenix. It's at the Talking Stick Resort. The second one is going to be in Long Island, New York in September. Last thing, can potential HPs who don't have access to the Facebook group, they can only follow the nutraMetrix page? That's correct. Sasha wrote in, can potential health professionals join our Facebook group? And the answer to that is no. In order for somebody to have access to the nutraMetrix Health Professional Facebook group, they actually have to have a nutraMetrix Health Professional account. And we do verify that they have an account with nutraMetrix before we do provide access to them for that course. We also then ask them, and this is very interesting for you to know, that if you're not a member of the group, it's helpful for you to know that when they pose a question, we ask them to tell us what type of health professional they are, so that when Dr. Mason or the rest of the faculty provides answers to them, they provide answers within their scope of practice. For example, if a massage therapist asks a specific question about a clinical usage of a product and an MD were to answer it using prescription medications in combination with nutraceuticals, the massage therapist might not be able to follow that advice. So if we have them post their health professional type and specialty along with their question, we can make sure that the answers that are given to them fit within their scope of practice. So it works out great. It's a great system in there. Okay, I think we're about out of time. The next NEI course, one last question there, the next NEI course this year, we only have one NEI course per year, and we just had it this past weekend, so the next NEI course will be in early 2014, and we'll have those dates available to you shortly. With that, I'm going to go ahead and end the session. If you had any questions that were not answered tonight, you can, or this afternoon, you can email them to nutraMetrix at nutrametrix.com. With that, I'm going to sign off and say thank you for joining me on this Tuesday Takeaway, and we will see you next week. Have a great day.